Hello there, I'm Jimmy Vegas. This is how to make an RPG in Unity, and welcome to episode 18. So this time we are going to focus on being hurt by our enemy as well as a death or game over screen. Firstly though, before we get into that, I would just like to have a quick debugging session because throughout development so far a couple of bugs have arisen and I think it's time we dealt with them. So the first one I'd like to deal with is in the canvas itself. And we're going to deal with this fade in screen. Now, if we recall, when we start the game, we have the fade in screen, but we never actually turn this fade in screen off at any point. In our scripts, we can technically I say, have in our cutscene and scene 01, if we go into this script, take just a second to load in Visual Studio. And when we look through it, we can see a couple of things here, there, and everywhere. For example, here we've got the fade in, and we do have it set as fade in, set active there. And this whole fade in thing never gets turned off. So, firstly, what we're going to do is when we have allowed the whole fade in to occur, we need to just set a quick variable afterwards to say turn it off, and the animation on the fade screen takes 60 frames, so it's 1 second. So at the end here we're going to have yield return new wait 4 seconds, and we'll just have 1 close bracket semicolon and save. So this will turn off your fade in screen when we do play the cutscene, but as we're kind of cutting that bit out to speed up the testing process, we're going to need that baseline again in a little separate script. And what we'll do is we'll go create C# and we'll have scene 01 skip. So for any point when we decide we want to skip the scene, the cutscene I should say, at the beginning, what we'll do is we will get rid of void update, just have void start. We'll need to declare the fade in screen up here, so public game object, and we'll call it fade in semicolon. And because I still want the fade screen to work even when we're testing, we're going to do it via an enumerator. So enumerator fade quit, I'm going to call it, open close bracket, open curly bracket, and it's fade in. In fact, we'll wait first, so yield return new wait 4 seconds in brackets 1 semicolon, and then fade in dot set active false. And all we need to do in void start is start co routine, and it's going to be what we've just called it, fade quit, open close bracket semicolon, and save. And I'm going to attach this to, in fact I'll keep the canvas open, I'm going to attach it to this cutscene object here. So if we want to skip it, we can keep it ticked. If we don't want to skip it, we can untick it, and it's just fade in. Now the reason we've done this is because there was a little bug where, because the fade screen was staying on, we weren't able to interact with our notice board. So let's just check that that bug is now resolved. And there we go. That bug is now resolved, which brings us on to the next bug that I want to resolve. We have our objectives over there on the left hand side, and if we go over here to the little clearing, it does appear to say reach clearing in the woods, done. However, if we open the chest, it doesn't tell us that the next bit is done. So let's sort that bit out. What we'll do is we will go to over here, and we need to change this script here. So this object we're going to deal with is the first objective of opening the chest. So if we double click here, we can go to the script, and basically what we need to do is, if we have a look down here, we need to put somewhere to say the objective, this one here, is active, because we don't basically make it appear, which is a little bit silly. So if we put it here, in fact, is it going to be there? or should we put it further down? Let's see. What's the best way to do this? Let's put it here. So I think it's going to be the objective dot set active true semicolon and save. And let's quickly check that works. So if we head all the way over into the clearing again, and we should see the first one appear, and hopefully there we go, the second one does appear. Even though it's defined as quest name, because we haven't picked the quest up, it still will work. And we need to do the same with this one as well, which is to pick up the sword, and we need to put it here as well. So we'll do the objective set active false semicolon and save. So that's sorted. Okay, so last thing I want to do is we need to fix our actual spider. Now we've been dealing with the spider quite a bit, but this is one bug I did notice. So I'm going to double click on it. Let's go over here, and I think I'm not quite sure how I noticed this, but basically what can happen at the moment is when our spider dies, it doesn't die. The AI script we've written here kind of stays active, and we need to disable that. So we can do that quite easily. And we're going to go into the AI script. In fact, we'll go into spider enemy, I think. So we just need to double click spider enemy, and let's open the script. So what we're going to do here is, as a variable, we're going to declare that script as a variable, and then we need to turn that off when our spider gets killed. So public, and we're going to say of type spider AI, because spider AI is our script name. So I'm keeping everything as uniform as possible here. So the name of it is going to be spider AI script semicolon. So what we need to do is, when the script actually loads, we need to tell it that spider AI script is actually the component called spider AI. So void start. That doesn't need to be private, that's fine. Open close bracket and open curly bracket, and spider AI script equals get component in spiky brackets spider AI close spiky bracket semicolon. Next thing we need to do is, down here we need to work out when our spider dies. So when we call this coroutine here death spider, this is where he dies. So here is where we can technically turn off that script. And to do that, first thing in the enumerator is spider AI script dot enabled equals false semicolon, and save that script. Now if we go back to here, Unity, okay, so it's saying, oh, of course, I forgot the parentheses at the end there on the get component, so we need the two parentheses, open close bracket. Does it realize what's going on? Perfect. And now, fingers crossed, if we, let's click on project again, let's press play and quickly check if this works. So you should notice in the inspector panel that the spider enemy AI script has been activated. You can see it's declared itself there. So let's get this spider. Perfect. Spider's dead, and he stays dead. So I think at the end of last episode it may have carried on trying to get us, even though he was already dead. So those are the bugs out of the way now. So we're going to start with being hurt in the HP style we already have set up, and I'm going to move on to a different HP style further in the series. And if you want to stick with what we do in this episode throughout the series, please do. If you want to switch to the new HP style that I'm going to try pretty soon, again, it's up to you what you want to work with. So to do this properly, what we need to do is head to the spider enemy script yet again, and we need to basically create an integer, and we'll call it global spider. So let's go into spider enemy script again. So let's add a static variable here. So underneath what we have already written, public static integer, so int, and we'll call it global spider. So this is all kind of working towards the spider actually being able to hurt us. Semicolon. And what we'll do is in update down here, first line, we need to basically make global spider equal to the spider status. Rather than make spider status a static variable, we'll keep it as what it is and create a new static. Global spider equals spider status, semicolon, and save. So next we need to deal with spider AI, which is this one right here. So let's open that one up, and we need to create another variable here. This one we're going to call dealing damage, and the way this is going to work is we're going to basically start a coroutine when the spider is dealing damage to us, and it's basically going to hurt us. So public int dealing damage, semicolon, and down here after this little statement here, if attack trigger is double equal to 0, we also need to make another if statement to say if dealing damage is equal to 0. So if dealing damage double equal 0, then do the following. And what we want to do in the following is take those two lines of code, enemy speed 0 and the attack animation, put them inside the dealing damage if statement, and then we need to start a coroutine to say we're taking damage. Start coroutine, and let's call it taking damage. Open close bracket, semicolon. So down the bottom, after void on trigger exit, we do enumerator, and we've called it taking damage. Open close bracket, open curly bracket. And first things first, we need to stop this continually occurring. So we'll make this stat equal to a different number. So we'll do dealing damage equals, let's do 2 for now, just so as long as it isn't 0. Now, what I'm going to do is the spider attacks for roughly just under a second. So we want the damage to be dealt maybe half a second after it's kind of started its attack animation. So yield, return, new, wait 4 seconds, and in brackets 0.5f. That's if you're using the same model I am. If you're not, you have to kind of work out whatever model you're using. And after that, we then need to check if our spider is, how can I put it, is kind of dead or not. Because if it's dead, we don't want to receive the damage at this point. Because if we've just killed it the split second before it's due to hurt us, we don't want to be hurt by it. So, if spider enemy dot global spider is not equal, and we do that by an exclamation mark, the equal sign, 6, because if you remember, if we go to spider enemy, we can see down here that when it's dead, it changes to status number 6. So if it is 6, then what we do is, if it isn't equal to 6, then we do health monitor dot health value minus equals 1. So what's happening here is if our spider is hurting us, we are taking 1 off whatever our health value is. If he isn't hurting us, then obviously it stays the same. If he's dead, then he still doesn't hurt us. But as long as it isn't equals to the dead status, which is number 6, it will hurt us. So after it's hurt us, we need to wait again. Yield, return, new, wait for seconds, and we'll wait for just under half a second. And finally, we'll put dealing damage back to 0. Dealing damage equals 0. So we can call this routine yet again and save that script. So let's head back to Unity and just check all these scripts work fine. Syncing, perfect, no errors. So all that we've done in that script is just ensure that there is a delay for when the spider attacks us, and if we kill it in the meantime, we don't take damage. So you've probably worked out now we need to deal with health monitor now. So if we go back to our scripts and go into health monitor, what we need to do is make some quick modifications with this code right here. And essentially what's going to happen is we need to set active, or rather set inactive, hearts 3 and 2 gradually, because if we've got 3 hearts, we want to only display 2 hearts if we get hit. So if health value equals 2, we need to make sure we turn off heart 3. Heart 3.set active false. And then same again with heart value 1, we need to turn off heart value 2. So heart 3.set active false, semicolon, and save. Now we're going to quickly test this out, but there is still a little bit more to do because we do need to create that scene to say game over. So let's quickly give our spider a go. Let's pick up these hearts so we can see this in action. And let's hopefully be hurt by our spider. There we go. Okay, so the first one has appeared, so I'm going to quickly press escape and take a look at our health monitor. So our internal value is not quite as it should be, so let's keep our health monitor active and let's see what happens. So our internal health is 3, so when it becomes equal to 2 it should turn off heart 3, which I think it does. Yep, but then when it's 1, it doesn't turn off heart value. Oh, that's why. My mistake. Sorry, folks. I can't seem to count. Okay, so now as I change that to 2, I know for a fact it will work, because if it's worked on 3, it will obviously work on 2 because I've corrected that little error there. Perfect. Next thing we need to do is let's make a very quick, simple game over screen. So as we stand now, we only have this one scene. So we're going to go File, New Scene. And I'm going to save that scene. All I'm going to do on here is create a black background. So game object, UI, raw image, and I'm going to turn it black. I'm going to make the anchor point stretch right across the scene, zero everything out, double click so we can see that looks fine. And I'm going to put another game object, UI, text, just to say game over. Let's have the color as red. Font size, let's put it as 35 maybe. And I think we're obviously going to need to make this a lot bigger so we can see. Center, let's bring that into center as well. Okay, so that is very simple. Now you can take as much time as you need to. And we're probably going to come back to this game over scene, maybe to animate it at a later date. But I just want to get to the point of making a scene to say the game is over. So I'm going to save that scene as, let's turn the caps off, game over. Now what we'll do is we need to add these 2 scenes to the actual project itself. So area 1, make sure we have that open. Go to File, Build Settings, and we need to add Open Scenes. And that will add area 1 as scene 0. We need to remember these numbers here because they become important in just a second. Next thing, if we go into Game Over, File, Build Settings, Add Open Scenes, and you'll see this one is now scene 1. Remember that number 1. That's what becomes important. So, head back to Area 01, and go to our scripts. So what we'll do here is on health monitor, we need to add in our namespace at the top, using Unity engine dot scene management semicolon. So we need to reference the scene manager within the script. So we need to use this namespace. Now what we'll do is we will add an extra if statement here at the top. If health value is less than or equal to 0, then do the following. And it's just basically scene manager dot load scene, and in brackets 1, and save. So the idea of what's happening here is if we have no health, literally if we have 0 or we've had an overkill, it will load scene 1, so it will effectively end the game. So I'm going to save the scene, press play, and let's go see if one attack by the spider will give us game over, because we only have 1 health. So 1 attack will mean we're down to 0. So let's test this out. And perfect. So we've been killed. Now there are more subtle ways and more advanced ways of doing this, and it's something we will get into later on in development. There's just a couple of things that I want to deal with first to make it more like an RPG. So in the next episode, we're going to work on some more quests. We'll get it working better. We'll get the second NPC a bit more interactive, and we'll add in a pointer to say where we need to go in the game as well. So until that next episode, guys, thank you very much for watching.